Today we will focusing on Chapter 7, the time value of money, part 1. The agenda is the transfer of funds. The agenda is transfer of funds from savers to borrowers, the time value of money, the future value, the present value, and a wrap up. So as you remember, the player's diamonds is we have savers and borrowers and financial institutions and financial markets. So where do we use time value of money? We can find the value of the bonds and loans by using interest rates and dividend payments. So our toolbox is we have present value and the future value formulas. So the time value of money is in general a dollar today is worth more than a dollar in 1 year. Let's think about in this way. If you have $1 today and you can deposit in a bank at 10%, and you will have $1.10 at the end of 1 year. So the difference in the value between money today and the money in the future is the time value of money. And it's extremely important concept in finance. So if you deposit $100 in a saving account that pays 5% per year, how much money will you have at the end of the year? It's easy because you will have principal amount and you need to multiply 1 plus the interest rate, and it is 105. And how much money will you have at the end of the second year? It's you have this amount of money in the first year, and you have 105 multiply for the second year 1 plus 0.05%, which is 110.25. If you are standing at the time of today, $100 is called present value or the principal, and 105 and 110 10.25 are called future values. So you're investing 100 today times 0 t0, and you will have 105 in 1 year, and you will have 110.25 in t plus 2. This is the present value, and these values are the future values. Let me clear here. So the total interest amount is $10.25, which is composed of $10 interest, interest on the earned initial principal, and 25 cents that accrued during the second year on $5 interest earned in the first year. What does it mean? So you're earning interest on interest, because when you look at here at time 0, you will have only 100. In time 1, you have 105, and time 2, you have 110.55. So $5 here is interest amount, and you will earn interest on interest. So this earning of interest on interest is called compounding. So time value of money, the payments are either as a single payment or a series of equal payments, an annuity, but may not be years. a series of unequal payments. Yeah, it could be time zero. You can have different payments in different time, and T1, T2, T3. It could be equal payments or different payments. And the time value of money problems may be solved by using financial calculator. I highly recommend, and you can use Excel or formulas or interest tables. So when you look at the formula, the present value, today's price, multiply 1 plus interest rate, number of periods over number of periods is equals future value. So n is, here n is the number of compounding periods. It can be 1, 2, 3, and so on. And I here is the interest rate as percentage. So Pn here is the future value. Future value. P0 is the present value. The future value grows with increases in the length of time and in the rate of interest. As you see, the increase is exponential because we have compound interest. So as you see, this is the impact of compound interest. It's not linear. So again, as you see, the value of 1,000 in 20 years, if the annual rate is 10%. This is your principal, original investment, 1,000. This is the interest on original 1,000, and this is the interest on interest amount. So this axis, y-axis, shows the total future value, and x-axis shows the time. So consider an investment where we can invest 100,000 and the prevailing market rate of interest for the similar risk projects is 10%. What do we expect to receive in 1 year? It's very easy because we know the formula, and you have initial investment $100,000 multiplied by 1 plus interest rate. What is the number of periods? 1 year. So you will just write 1 year here, and you will get $110,000 in 1 year. So what is outflow? Here is you're investing money today, which is outflow, negative sign, and you will get $110,000 in 1 year. This is inflow, which has plus sign. So what if we can invest in this project for 2 years? Again, we have principal amount, which is 100K, multiply by 1 plus interest rate over n, which is 1K. Interest rate is 10%. The number of period is 2. It equals $121. So basically it shows second year here you will have 121,000. So if you just investing today 100 outflow, just ignore here, and you will have in the second year you will get $121 in the case of interest rate is 10% and n is 2. Here is interest rate 10%, n is 1. So we will be using financial calculator, and we need to familiar with the um, notations. So what are the variables? The variables are the present value, PV. You will find PV in your financial calculator. Future value, you have payments, annual payments. Also, you can see C. C represents coupons for bond payments, but you can think as a payment. So payment or C. N is number of time periods. Number of time periods. I is interest rate. So usually I over Y is interest per year. And in the formula we use R. But you will find I over Y in your financial calculator. I here is the interest rate, Y is the um, per year. If you have interest per interest amount monthly or quarterly, this yearly amount will change 12 for monthly, 4 for quarterly. And in financial calculator express the cash inputs. So okay, we have PV, present value, future value, payments as cash inflows plus and cash outflows. At least one of the cash variables must be outflow, inflow plus and outflow. Yeah. Okay, let's solve a question. Just take your financial calculator and try to solve this question by using your financial calculator. So you have number of periods 2, interest rate 10%. Please be careful. This is in percentage, not decimals. So if the question asks you 10% interest rate, you will only enter 10 for the interest rate. Present value. Okay, let's draw a chart. T0, T1. Present value is $100,000. This is present value. And no payments. It means the question can ask you, okay, that could be 4 years or 5 years, let's say 10 years. You have T1, T2, T3, T9, and T10, and each year you can have payments. Payment 1, payment 2, and payment 9, and each payment can be 1,000, 2,000, 1,000, etc. So, but we don't have payments in this question, so we don't need to think about that. Okay, so you have time 0 and time 1 minus 100,000, and this is present value. You're investing $100,000, and you should you should give a negative sign, and you have interest rate 10%, 10%, and the question asks you what is the future value here. The formula, as you remember the formula, but a financial calculator, you just only while using a financial calculator, you will only need these parameters, these variables, and you will just calculate the future value. And you should be very careful by giving the sign, negative sign. And you will have positive sign. This is inflow, and you will get outflow. So the time value of money, again, consider a firm's investment opportunity with a cost of $100,000 today and benefit $105,000 at the end of 1 year. Saving account interest rate is 10%. So would you invest in this opportunity or deposit in the saving account, and why? Can you explain why, which option you will choose and why? We can explain it by looking at the figures. Like we have $100,000 investment today. This is outflow. Okay, this should be outflow. This is inflow. Sorry for confusion. The okay, this is outflow. This is plus sign is inflow. So we have outflow here in this question, and inflow is uh, here 1 year. So you can compute the interest rate is 5% in this investment, and for the saving account you will get 10% investment return. So 10% interest rate. Which project you will choose? You will choose to deposit your money in the saving account because the interest rate is higher than the investment opportunity. Another problem, your grandpa put $500 in a saving account when you're born. If the annual rate is 4%, what is the value of this saving when you are about to go college? So 18 years later. Same question, time 0, time 18, your grandpa invest $500, and what is the value? Here, and interest rate is 4%. Well, the calculation is very simple. Okay, you will have $500 and 1 plus interest rate, number of periods. So you will get at the end of the 18 years 1,000 and 1,200 and 90 cents, 91 cents. How we can calculate by using our financial calculator? You should find present value and enter negative 500, and you should find the n. This is a number of periods, 18. I over year is interest rate per year is 4%. Payments, you don't get any payments during the 18 years, or you don't invest additional money, deposit additional fund in your saving account. So payments are 0, and future value is asked. Easy, you will find if you calculate by your financial calculator, you will find this value. And the second problem, you buy a stock for $10 and expect the price to increase 9% annually. After 10 years, what is the anticipated price of the stock? Same calculation. We have present value 10, interest rate is 9%, and number of period is 10. So the value of the stock will be $23.67 in 10 years. Time 0, time 10, negative $10 today, and in 10 years plus $23. How we can solve this problem? By using financial calculator. You have number of years 10, interest rate 9. You're entering 9. You're not entering 0.09. No, you're entering 9. And the present value is minus 10, negative because you bought and paid for the stock. This is outflow. This is inflow. That's why it's plus. Payments, you don't have any payments here. No payments, zero. Payments, zero. And the future value. Future value is $23. And let's look at this problem. Now it's the reverse version of a previous problem. We have investment where we receive $110, $110,000 in 1 year, and the prevailing market rate of interest for similar risk project is 10. So this rate is 10%. How much will we be willing to pay? So how much money you want to pay today? Same, but as we know, the present value, the future value is this formula. Future value is equal to present value multiplied 1 plus interest rate over number of periods. We can find the present value by calculating future value divided by 1 plus interest rate over n is your present value. Similar calculation, you have future value, which is 110,000. You have interest rate, which is 10%, and you will find the present value is $100,000. So the process of determining the present value is called discounting. Yeah, so this process means you're discounting this value to today. You're discounting future value today. Discounting. So yeah, this is the general formula. The future value. This is future value. This is your interest rate and number of period. This is present value. So n is the number of compounding periods, and I is the discount rate. Pn is the future value. P0 is the present value. So in this formula, Pn multiplied by 1 divided by 1 plus I over n is P0. In other words, future value multiplied by 1 over 1 plus I n P0 or present value. This value is called a discount factor. So in a calculator, in previous problem for 2 years, you have number of years 2, interest rate is 10%, payments, you don't have any payments, so you just enter 0, and your future value is 121,000, and the present value is negative $1,000. This is positive because inflow. This I interest rate is in percent, not decimals. Okay, same notation. Okay, let's solve problem 3. Suppose you have won a prize of a math competition. The grant offers 2 options. You can either choose to receive 6,000 today or 6,700 in 3 years. Which option will you take if the annual rate is 3%? What if the annual rate is 4%? So, okay, there are 2 options. E1 is 3%. I2 is 4%. Option A, option B. Okay. If the interest rate is 3%, the future value calculation is future value divided by The present value calculation is future value divided by 1 plus I over n equals, this is your future value, this is interest rate, number of years. If the interest rate is 3%, the present value is 6 over 6,000. If the interest rate is 4%, same number of years, you will receive just shy of 6,000. So if the interest rate is 3%, so which one do you accept? Of course, you will accept the 3% because it's higher than 6,000, and it's higher than your today's price, today's option, today's value. So if the interest rate is 3%, accept the price in 3 years. If the interest rate is 4%, accept the price now, right? So in this session, we learned what is compounding, the calculation of what is discounting, and we learned the formula of future value and the present value. Please read your notes, PowerPoint slides, and all the chapters from 5 to 7. And please solve the mind tap exercises, all the sources, including quizzes, video reviews, PowerPoint slides, flashcards, and all the exam questions and quiz questions will come from mind tap exercises, quizzes, and of course, book. Thank you for your attention.